Guys, and anytime you're gonna see them popping here. I don't know how many are gonna be joining, so I'm keeping myself busy. I have always make sure you have your resume. You see my resume is here. Always make sure you have the meeting. Always make sure you're in a meeting at least 15 minutes before. I was actually be longer before there. Make sure you have the website of the company on your computer in case they want to ask you something. Make sure you always have the command line interface like this in case you have to do something, and also have your Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, or anything here in case they want to ask you something. Just be careful. Sometimes when they ask you a question and they hear you typing, they know you're cheating. Did you know, guys? Do you guys know that?
Yes.
And when you ask something on ChatGPT, let's say they ask you, tell us what's a DNS, and you don't know what a DNS is, and you manage to be too fast, and you reached out to your computer and you found a DNS. Don't read what's there. Just say, now I'm seeing a lot of stuff here about the DNS work because I just on my Copilot, I just typed in DNS and it's telling me a lot of stuff. But assume they're asking me, I'll pretend that I will say, if they're asking me about DNS and I didn't know what about DNS, I will type in ChatGPT DNS and I will keep the conversation engaged. Do you understand? Because you don't want to sound like you are searching up the information. And this is the biggest challenge. When the information comes, you don't know where to start, because there's a lot of information. And the question was, what did you do with the DNS? And what you Googled, you didn't show you what you did on Google or ChatGPT is not coming as you wanted it. So what do you do? In that case, just say, yeah, I have worked sometimes back with DNS. I remember I had to do different things. I remember like I did some root servers. I did set up the root servers. Asaf, you understand? They're asking me about DNS, but I'm talking about the root server setup, which is a little bit related. Then you can say, also I have also set up I'm reading what's there. I'm trying to make sure my conversation aligns with their question. And the truth is, I'm completely lost compared to what ChatGPT gave me. You understand? What ChatGPT gave me is completely confusing. Why? Because when I just typed in what's a DNS, and they're asking me, tell us where you worked with DNS in the past. Do you understand where the confusion comes in?
Yeah.
So in that case, how would you answer that? Remember, now let's say you have your computer ready. Let's do this. So Asaf, he told us you worked with a lot of domains before. Could you tell us the process of setting up a domain? Which domain controller did you set up?
Okay, well, yeah, after you configure any server, it becomes a domain controller, or it plays that role when you configure domain controller.
When you see the screen here, when they come in, I don't have anyone I can control you. Just stop talking, and when you hear me start talking, just you stop talking. Okay.
Okay, I mute. Yeah. Fine. Yeah, I said normally when you configure a new server with an operating system, then it becomes a domain controller when you give it that role. So you configure and install it as a domain controller, you assign it with that role. So after being assigned as a domain controller, that's where you configure your AD, your Active Directory. That's where users, that's where groups, that's where organizational units of the company or the institution are managed.
Very good, because you see, you are talking on a technical perspective. You are deep inside there. Did you feel how you're inside the system?
Yeah. Actually, when you answer something, everyone can hear that. Yeah, it's
So,
not like something you just try to look around.
so another question. So
Yeah.
now they're gonna come and they say, "Oh, Safari, we're gonna be migrating our domain, upgrading our domain controllers in different cases, and some of our domain controllers they have different FSMA roles. Could you tell us how you would deal with those FSMA roles?" Is Adia here?
Yeah. I think she joined already.
Okay. Please mute yourself. Don't say anything because this is my interview and 1 minute to go. So, guys, wish me luck.
Good luck.
So, what you need to do, just relax. Take it easy, keep it cool. If you are lucky and you find a way to make them laugh, make them laugh. If you feel like you can maneuver around, just play along. You know what I mean? This is called
Okay.
you fake it until you make it. But again, the good news for most of you guys, you already have the skills. You already have exact skills required. So it shouldn't be a big deal.
Okay.
So I think they're also gonna ask me about the cloud. If they ask me about the cloud, you'll see I will talk about on-prem because when they ask me any question about the the cloud, I will start with on-prem, talking about the main controllers, the physical roles and stuff like that. Then I'll go to the cloud where I'll talk about AWS and stuff like that. Then I'll go from there. I'll make sure, even if I don't hit the point they wanted me to say, but at least I said more than enough for them to give me a job. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
If they say, "Do you know how to make fufu?" You can say, "I've made so many the fufu. I don't know which." Even when the question is confusing, instead of answering the questions, ask them questions. Now you find like you're the one interviewing them. If they say, "We are trying to do the migration in our environment," and just say, "Could you tell me more about your environment? Is this on-prem? Is it hybrid?" So it shows that you know what you're talking about, all right? And they are late. They are 1 minute late now, and this is also a big advantage. So they are 2 minutes late. And there's one of the guy who came for the training here, but you can hear him snoring because he did the overnight shift. He did the overnight shift, so you can imagine. Hey, Suleiman. How are you? I'm good, Suleiman. Yeah. Thank you for joining. Uh, can you come closer? I mean, we are not able to see you. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now we can see you. Okay. Thank you so much. Just be available for a few minutes. I'm connecting you with the interviewer. Okay. 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 Yeah. Thank you. And it's always Indians. When you're dealing with Indian, please you have to master the level of patience. The pressure they are always on pressure, even when they are on time, and they are always trying to impress somebody. So you have to be really on your best grounds to be able to deal with them.
And the IT here is almost theirs.
Exactly.
And some few Kenyans, by the way.
Yeah. So he just said he's going to add more people, and I'm
So you are
hoping
doing the interview as a group?
they normally like this is a systems a cloud systems engineer. They want to do the migration, so it's a big job. They will be paying like maybe 70 $75 an hour. So it's a lot of money for the company to release. So they make sure they bring their best team on the on our panel.
Okay.
Otherwise, if they're paying that much money and they just don't do the interview, then it will be hard for them. They want to make sure. I'm sure if the managers are Indian or they're gonna shoot me with the questions, then you will see how I dodge the questions, but in a good way. Aria, are you there?
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Hello, Karthik. Hi. Your name? Sorry, Sulaiman, right?
Yes, Safari Agaba. Basically, I got 3 names on my ID, so you can pick whatever is okay with you.
Okay. Okay, Sulaiman, let's go with that. Raghu, do you want to check in? That's fine. I will take it the required screenshots. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Sulaiman, you can just give an introduction about yourself and the technology and the experience that you have. Let's pick it up from there.
Yeah, so my name is Safari Agaba. Suleiman is my middle name. I've been in Canada for more than 20 years, and I'm a Canadian. I'm an engineer. I've been an engineer for more than almost 15 years. I started at customer service, IT support, technical admin, to systems infrastructure, to senior systems infrastructure, like designing domain controllers, and also eventually connecting to the cloud, to AWS, Azure, managing Office 365, maintaining the patches for the servers, making sure the environment is friendly and moving smoothly.
And so, what is your experience on the AD side, Active Directory?
I've been using Active Directory for all my life, like in the technology industry. I've designed infrastructures from scratch, basically. I've designed the domain controllers, more than 20 domain controllers in different geographic locations. I've migrated, I've troubleshooted the physical roles. I've pretty much creating the OUs, adding the users, providing them the access. So yeah, I've been doing that for most of my time, yeah.
Okay. And how do you, can you give me or tell me the process? How do you migrate the domain controller from one device to other device? What approach or the process that you will follow?
So technically, you don't migrate a domain controller to where? Are you in the same, like, may I understand the environment exactly? Are you adding a domain controller as you're migrating it? What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Migrating from the one older version of Windows Server to the new version. And how do you the domain controller from the old box to the new one?
So basically, there's so many different ways of doing the upgrade. In most cases, most people do in-press upgrade, which finding the file server, putting on the main controllers and hitting on the file, and then next until the system upgrades. But that's not the best approach. The best approach, you should deploy a new VM, maybe a new server, then install like Windows Server, maybe 2022 or whatever the server is. Then after you make sure you install the roles and services, and you promote the server into to the main controllers, then you move the physical roles from the other domain controller to this domain controller. And then after doing that, I don't know, in some cases you want to keep the same IP settings, because if you don't if you provide the new IP settings, you could be having some issues in the routing table for the networking. So in that case, you take off of the other server, then bring it back after you've migrated the IP address, because I believe this will be a static IP address.
And have you worked on the Azure Active Directory?
I've designed Azure from scratch. I've done Office 365 from scratch, migrating from POP servers from Exchange 2010 to on cloud in Azure. I've deployed hybrid environments. I've created users, managed the licenses, created the VMs, domain controllers. I've designed fallback on on-prem and in cloud, so that in case you change the IP addresses on-prem, then it should replicate in the cloud. Yeah, I've worked a lot with that.
Okay, how do you do the setup from integrating from the on-prem to the Azure Active Directory?
There's a process. There's a process, and of course, it's not a jumping process. They have to be best practices. You have to do the thorough checks. You have to do everything. But if I can jump on technical perspective of it, it's the AAD Connect. AAD Connect is what actually points you to the local domain wherever you're having the forest, and this AD Connect, you can either install it on the main controller or you can deploy it on a new server. That way they can replicate together. Then you'll be configuring the VPN gateways and yeah, so technically you have to make sure you use AD Connect. That's the easy way fast. And this is in a Active Directory. Sorry, in a Azure. If you are doing AWS, that will be Direct Connect, and the configuration will be pretty much the same thing. And in this process, you have customization, you have default. What I've done in the most before you migrate all your domain controllers before you create a hybrid environment, always make sure you clean up your Active Directory, because there's always those users who have been there for so long that don't use the server. There's always those servers sitting there that need to be decommissioned. But the moment once you do the replication, then it will take all those stuff that you have in Active Directory to the cloud, and that would be a challenge. So you have to use a customized way, and the customized way you create or you pinpoint specifically to which OUs you want. But before you do that, you run a scripting to make sure you move all the accounts that haven't been able to log in for the last 3 months. You move them into one OU. So when you're doing the migration, you don't migrate those ones. That way, it's going to create a lightweight into the cloud and much more proficient when you are on operations level.
Okay. Have you set up the Azure Site Recovery?
I've worked on Azure Site Recovery, but I didn't set up from scratch. But I've always been in recovery environments where we had some maybe glitches on servers, and we had to point on different pointers. And I didn't design it from scratch, but I've been, of course, we have a redundancy recovery fallback, and I've been part of those systems. Yeah. And if I had to do the setup, it wouldn't be complex because I've done more advanced than that.
You know that how it is works and how we can recover the VMs through that, and what service that is being offered by Azure for an Azure through an Azure Site Recovery. Can you give me some details about it?
The process is complex because you have to be specific. This comes from the virtualization environment. You have to create groups and policies of how the servers will migrate. Let's say you have maybe 2 servers on, maybe more than 6 servers on different load balancers. And if you have to do maybe recovery, you have to make sure which server that actually going to be recovered, because you don't want to recover everything. You want to, so this goes to the data center configuration and environment configuration. Why? Because you have to specifically, when you're creating the load balancer, let's say you are doing classic load balancer or application load balancers. On classic load balancers, you have the option for the THCP to configure the IP address, and that's specifically where you specify the domain controllers in case of the failover, the VMs in case of the failover.
And have you used any the backup and DR tools in on-prem?
Yeah, I've used the Vim, I've used Net Backup, I've used yeah, I've touched different so many backups. If the policies and resources are configured, the backup is easy. If you deploy a new server, you detect it on a backup, you add it on a backup group, and then it's going to be part of the backup process.
And what tools that you used for a disaster recovery in on-prem?
So for the disaster recovery, that would mean it. Okay, it would depend. Like, for instance, you have an environment where you have a production environment, you have a test environment, you have a QA environment, you have a UAT environment. So the setup would be completely different based on the tools you're using. In this case, when you're using like a VMware, it's much easier because the VMware will give you all the features that you need to do the recovery or migration and tools like that. But again, it goes to the infrastructure design from the core of the data center, how you want, because you can't migrate those unless you have the access to the hosts. And this is a vCenter if you're on-prem. And the vCenter should be able to tell you, let's say maybe you're using a vCenter or you're using a Hyper-V. So it depends from the actual topology and how it's designed. But definitely the tools could be, if you are running VMware, the VMware has the full package for that, but you can also use Orchestrator. Orchestrator does that. There's so many tools that can do the same thing.
And do you have experience on the VMware side? VMware Hyper-V?
Yeah, I've worked a lot with VMware. I've designed the data centers from scratch with more than maybe 50 nodes. I'm talking about the EXIs, configuring the EXIs with the bare meter, configuring the IP addresses and gateway subnets, then being able to contact to route them to the vCenter and the vCenter configuring, adding them to the VLANs and the group policies attaching to that. So yeah, I've done a lot, including patching as well. So I've done a lot of VMware.
Okay. And can you tell me how do you add a new host into the existing cluster, or what is the process that you follow for it?
It's so many ways. You either can run a script, a CLI will be much easier, but if you want to go on a graphic perspective, you just go on a data center, which is a vCenter, and in the vCenter, you go on a data center. In the data center, you should be seeing somewhere where you have the host, and those hosts, then you add the host. How do you add the host? The host will definitely have the DNS configured, which means the DNS will be attached to the IP address, and you can search, you can add it there, and then hit search, and it will bring it. But you have to make sure the network firewalls are configured, because if the EXI host is configured with a different subnet IP address, and you're trying to access it in a data center, it won't work. You need those gateways, you need the routing, you need the ports open to be able to detect it there. So there's a networking environment, but also the operations environment into it.
Okay. And have you done any recent automations using a PowerShell or any other scripts?
Yeah, of course. There's no way.
There would be something. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, there's no way you can do anything to do with like managing infrastructure without being able to use scripting. Like scripting is the major thing. Like you need to use the PowerShell, and the PowerShell will come in handy at any time you're trying to do something like the scripting, the batch, all those things. I've used them, and the most part of it is being able to generate a script and then manipulate it according to what you want. And yeah, I've worked, and also I've used the Microsoft Automata. I've used task management in SCCM. I've used task managers in the operating systems like servers. Yeah.
Okay. What are the operating systems that you work on?
Starting with 2022, the latest, all the way to NT. I've worked on them. And then that's Windows, of course, with Linux, Unix, and or Linux or Ubuntu. I've worked with, yeah, but mainly these have been, I'm more strong in a Windows environment. That's where my engineering has been for so long. But I've also deployed like Linuxes, Unixes, servers, configuring the IP addresses, adding them in a VLAN and passing them to the Linux team or application team.
Okay. And have you worked on Hyper-V?
I've worked a lot. I've designed Hyper-Vs. It's the same thing with VMware. I've designed Hyper-Vs, SCM manager, where different tenants, managing different tenants, connecting to SCSI. Yes, I've worked with Hyper-V as well.
So you set up from the scratch?
Yeah. I've. It's been a while, but I had a project for like 6 months, and they had to migrate from VMware. I don't know the challenge they had, and also they had a lot of physical servers where we're converting into virtual servers like P2V, and after creating the P2Vs, then I would do that. So we did that most of the time. I designed it from scratch with different tenants from different locations, with different hosts, of course, and also was on-prem and cloud at the same time.
Okay. Okay. And do you have anything you want to clarify? I've just finished it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so is this environment just on-prem or it's a hybrid?
It's a hybrid.
Good. And this hybrid mainly with Microsoft or with AWS as well?
Yeah, it's with Microsoft on Azure.
AWS and Azure. Okay, so you're managing Office 365 in Microsoft?
Yes.
Okay, so you have Microsoft. Okay, and how many are we going to be on the team?
It would be, the team size is something different. And the reason is it's been the outsourced, the IT support has been outsourced to the Microsoft, and it's one of the client that we have. And the volume that you may need to support here is around 2,000 plus VMs, which is inclusive of on-prem plus Azure as well.
Okay, and I'm also coming in with the background with the AI. Are you using AI in any way? Because there have been so many opportunities that can streamline the operations, especially on a server level to the help desk level. Have you integrated the AI?
It's in a process,
Okay.
and they are planning to use that.
Okay, I'll be more than happy to help because I've worked a lot with the MI implementation into AWS and Azure, so I'll be more than happy to help on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you okay to work in our office all 5 days in a week?
Yeah, I can do that.
And how far from your location to the office?
I'm actually in Toronto right now, but I'm moving. So we did talk about this and I'm committed to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Good talking to you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope this works out and I can't wait to work with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Here we go, guys. That's how we make money. What do you think?
Amazing. Now, what was the job again?
It's what's the job? It's so he said this is on-prem. Let me see the position. I don't remember the position. It's a hybrid environment, and this is gonna be so this is deliver strong experience on data migration. So did you notice one thing in the interview?
Not one, many.
So what okay, one thing you need to understand, this guy is not technical. I'm better than this guy.
Definitely.
But the issue is sometimes you don't, if you're better than somebody, don't push it so much because you could get disqualified. Because the guy is not going to be, some guys, they are okay to work with guys who are better than them, but some
So
guys, they are okay to be
you, sorry to cut you short. How did you know that you are better than him? Okay, even me, I can guess, but how did you find out?
because the questions they're asking, they are not specific. He's asking me questions that I'm not expected. I'm expecting like, how do you manage the containers and Dockers in Kubernetes? You see that question?
Yeah, or maybe the question you asked me recently now about maybe for few roles, you kept repeating
exactly.
them, and he didn't ask at least to explain in details the meaning of that,
Because
which is
do you
very
know why?
important with the domain controller. Yeah.
So this is a trick, and I want you to pay attention to this because you could have an interview soon, because Angel's trying to get you on. There is the way you shut down the interview. The way you shut down the interview, when you're expressing yourself, make sure you go deeper so that you cut off all the questions that are going to come technical out of it. For instance, he asked me, have you ever worked with VMware? Remember, I took the VMware all the way from scratch, like EXIs, like Nodes EXIs, like configuring the EXI client, like putting IP address, like accessing it, the vCenter. He was going to ask me, do you know the vCenter? But there's no reason why he would ask me when I've actually explained everything from scratch, from the beginners to the senior level. And that's why at some point you will realize that he will have no questions. We'll be like, do you have questions? Because in his head is like, yeah, this is the guy I want. This guy is really good. Yeah. In his head is like, yeah, we got this one. Because, and the reason why they picked him to be there, he's the one of the best in the team.
Yeah, actually.
Which means this is gonna be an easy fish to catch, because this guy is gonna be, and the environment is so easy. And I know it's Windows. The guy doesn't know about the outside Windows. He's asking me baby questions like, what's a VMware? How do you configure VMware? He's asking me baby questions like, how do you make a domain controller? Like, you can't ask that question when you're an engineer. You have to understand
Actually
it.
asked about moving it to a new server, and he was okay. He was just asking a question that are not that technical,
Exactly.
just like
But
maybe picked from somewhere.
Exactly. But did you hear how I answered the question? The way I
Mhm.
answered each and every question, I was trying to show him I know what I'm talking about, and I've done this so many times.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if that comes with experience, because that fluency you have in answering, I think something we should learn from, because like normally, for example, me when I'm doing interviews, sometimes I get somewhere and there are gaps between what I'm saying and what I'm about to say. But for
And
you,
that's
you
what,
just from the beginning to the end, you don't stop anywhere. You don't, doubt about anything. So that's
and
the most important
if,
thing.
if you noticed, when I start talking, I can't give a chance to somebody who is a junior, somebody who is an amateur to talk, because they're intimidated already. And how do I do that? I just make sure what I know, I say it the best possible way possible. What I know, when I get there, when you ask me the question I know, I don't just answer the question. I'll take you all the way to the stony edge.
Yeah,
And that way, by the time I leave the stony edge, think of the stony edge as the EXI. You see how the EXI comes in? You have the server comes in, it's a bare server, and now you have to install the EXIs. And after installing the EXIs, you configure the IP address, you configure the default gateway, you configure the subnet mask. After configuring that, then you add it. Now he's asking me a stupid question again. How do you add a host into the, what did he say, vCenter? Like, that's like, it's like somebody asking you, how do you cook food?
Anyway, another thing I realized from your answers, from the way you answer, I think again maybe this comes with experience. It's like I can't easily, suppose I'm the one asking you, I can't easily discover that you don't know something,
Thank you.
technically, because the way you
Thank you.
answer, it's like
Thank you.
I don't know the way you play around with it, then no one
That's the
can know it.
trick.
You
That's
don't
the
know it
trick.
or you know it. Yeah.
That's the trick. Sometimes when you go on conferences, on meetings, interviews, people are ready to shoot you with questions. But once they hear you, they feel intimidated. And it's not necessarily because you're too good. It's because you're confident and what you're talking about, you know it. And how do you know it? Because you're talking it in depth. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've done this so long. The same way I was asking you with Aria last time. Aria, do you remember what we did?
Yes, I do.
So you remember they're asking me a simple question, but I'm taking that question to make it more deeper. And by the time I make it more deeper, time is moving. They are impressed already. The next thing they're thinking in their head, they're gonna give me a job. Like this job, it's gonna be paying $75 an hour, and I'm sure I'm gonna get this job. Do you know why? Because the guy is impressed. Is he not?
Yeah,
He
he
is
is.
the
He
way
is.
we are, and again, you have another trick maybe that
Hmm.
when you are answering for something you have done maybe practically, or you have deep experience in it, and something maybe you just know the basics. Still, no one can
Mhm.
differentiate. No one can
Exactly.
differentiate.
That's what we're doing. That's what we did. I did with you last time. Even when you don't know, make sure you sound like you know. And how do you sound like you know? Pick the key points and rely on them and take the full ownership. Because most of these guys, they don't want you to be the genius. They just want you to be able to do the job. And remember, they're going to give you the training. So if you fail, it's like you're not trying your best. If you give me any word, I close my eyes, you give me any word and tell me about that word. And I will tell you about the word. Why? Because I can think as I talk. That's what you need to practice. Like if I look back and I say, tell me about this. Asaf, tell me about this.
Yeah, that's I can see that's a flag with some colors with white and red. Although I don't know maybe exactly the country it represents, but it looks like a flag.
It's Canada.
It's a Canadian. But you see,
yeah, I know it's a
this,
Canadian flag, but I wanted to answer like you, maybe trying to say
because
that I don't know the country, but I know
no,
it's a flag.
you have to go back and hit the point because the guy
Okay.
wants to know if you know Canadian flag. In this
Okay.
case, I'll be like, in this case, I'll be like, oh, the flag. I actually know the flag. Actually, too, if I can tell you a little bit about the flag, I've been a big fan of Canada until 2006. I came in Canada, and it's been the best decision I ever made. Did I talk about the flag?
No,
No.
but it has already
But
been
in your head, I've told you don't ask me stupid question. I know more than that.
Yeah.
Let's say if they say, "Do you know this flag?" I say, "Oh, actually, my brother lives in British Columbia, and my uncle lives in Montreal, and I've been thinking to go to Toronto." I didn't say anything about the flag, but what did I say?
you leave them with a doubt that maybe probably it's a Canadian flag.
No, I told them I know more than just saying it's a Canadian flag. I've told you about Quebec. I've told you about the British Columbia. I've told you about Toronto. So I know it's Canada.
Mm.
So I'm trying to challenge you, but in a professional way. Don't ask me this. I know more than that. They say, ask you a question. They say, do you know what this is? And I'll be like, it's actually advisable to drink a liter of water every day. What does that mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
me.
Sounds like you.
I'm
Sounds
just I know I'm giving you more meat on the bone. If you ask me, do you know where is Nigeria, Lagos? I'll be like, oh, Nigeria, Lagos, of course. Actually, today the best developers are all coming in Africa, in Nigeria, Lagos. You see, I paid more attention than just saying Nigeria. I even know Nigeria produces the best developers, the best engineers. What do I mean? If I say that, you're not going to ask me any question again because you know this guy knows what he's talking about. Sadat, I think you missed this one. I really wanted you to. Did you? Were you here?
No, he joined a bit late.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, Monique, what do you think?
No, I wasn't here.
It's my mistake. I'll make sure next time when I'm having an interview, and the message is going to be shared on chat group, so you guys can be prepared and ready to hear me talking. And the next time, maybe I'll put a second monitor so you guys can look directly on what's going on when I'm juggling through the websites. You see, when he talked about scripting, remember, did you notice one thing? When he talked about scripting, I went on my computer and I opened up this one. And I wasn't gonna say, yes, I know scripting. I was gonna talk a little bit about PowerShell and I was gonna talk about some scripts. So meaning, don't ask me about that question. Let's move to the next question. That's what I'm trying to say. I've given you more than what you asked for. So let's move next. That's that's the point. The point is I've given you more than enough. Let's move next. If you ask me, what is this? Do you know what this is? I say, in every like if you ask me, what is this? I say, the pen writing has been in our education system for the last 500 years. Most of
it is in that environment. For example, you can just have a service just within a role. So I mean, within a role, you can have different services in the same environment.
Good. You are very good, but you are being repetitive. You are becoming boring.
Yeah.
Do you feel it?
Okay.
So
that's what I was saying. Now I'm trying to answer something I know, but still I'm not convincing you the way you want. So
okay, let me give you. If you ask me what's a role, I'll be like, let's assume you have a cluster. You want to configure a cluster on your servers. When you're configuring for the cluster on your servers, you're going to need a role, and that role is going to be on a server that you have configured already, and you're going to have to install that role. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk more about the role. I'm talking about the purpose, but more importantly, when I'm talking more into hands-on. When I'm talking, you can feel me doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's ask Alia. Alia, what's an IP address?
The IP address is it's the then it's for the device number name.
Okay. You almost come to, just say an IP address. You did answer very well. That was good enough. But if you say the purpose of the IP address and you explain it as if you are explaining to the 5-year-old, for instance, let me give you an address. If you say address, what's IP address? IP address, think of it as an PO box for the house. If another computer wants to reach another computer, it needs an IP address. And in some cases, that IP address has to be configured with the DNS. Trust me, when you said such a thing, they're going to shut up the question all coming from them, the IP address and the DNS, because you took an advantage to answer the questions that you are scared about. You don't want them to ask. If you don't want them to ask you about something, be the one to talk about it. Let's say, did you hear when he asked me something about disaster recovery? You guys understand what's a disaster recovery?
Yeah, I heard you trying to explain in different ways. Yeah, disaster recovery is just when you are ready to make sure that you are able to recover the system once it maybe an incident happens.
And then if somebody says, how do you configure a disaster recovery? You know that person doesn't know what they're talking about. Because there's so many different discoveries. There's so many ways, like, that's why I said, I don't know specifically what you want. I don't know how you answered, but I said, now when somebody's asking the question and they are not good or they are not sure, now you get an opportunity to educate them. You get the point? That's why I said a disaster recovery, think of a disaster recovery, different environments comes with different services, like a VMware. In a VMware, we have what we call vMotion. vMotion means the servers, the moment there's a failure going on into the data center, the pulses and let's think of the GPSs and the pulses. They will be able to know where to do the vMotion for the server to go in different location. And remember, I even talked about load balancing, the load balancers. You know those ones? Load balancers are, you see, like in Rwanda, I'll give you an example. In almost in Africa, when you go to do on Friday evening and you're trying to do mobile money, it's always so busy. They say the network is down. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
So every time they tell you there's a network down, it's because these guys, the infrastructure design, I'm going to show you an example. I don't know if you can see my screen. If you have one server processing a certain service, and that server, it's always maybe hitting at utilization level of 50%. But on Friday, because people are going home, people want to go out, they're going to start sending each other money, they're going to start receiving money, which means the server is going to get so busy. And when it gets so busy, they restrict the server to take in the traffic, which means if the server, in the cloud, we call them the DDR attacks. I'll give an example. If one server had the capacity to receive 1,000 requests, and you send 2,000 requests, what happens?
Yeah, it breaks the service.
When the utilization, the processor, the memory, the cache, all those hits the point of 100%, the server is going to freeze. Or you can create what we call a baseline and say, if you hit 80%, don't take any more services. You get it? So in Rwanda and all other African countries, every time you hear all the services down, it's because there is a cap on it. They say when the servers are being used to a certain percentage, if they are being used to 90% to 80%, leave 20%, leave 20% for the server so that that server can still be able to operate. But this becomes a challenge because other users won't be able to access the service. So what do? That's why we come in with a load balancer. The load balancer, you can have more than 10 servers, 100 servers running in the background, all sharing the traffic. If 1,000 people comes, another service is going to come in. If 2,000 people comes in, another service is coming, which means they can now load balance the traffic. So that's the question he was asking me. And this load balancer is configured on 2 levels. There's application load balancer and there's a classic load balancer. In the classic load balancer, you have like TCP IP. You can control the computers, the traffic. And then you have the application, which is like HTTP, HTTPS, and ISSL. All those comes on application. So if it's application, it goes on application server. If it's a server, it goes on a classic load balancer because it's a TCP IP. So I was trying to educate him, but I figured maybe he had the questions on the list and I didn't want to make him look bad. Any questions?
Yeah, for me, it's no questions other than just to keep learning and practicing.
So before we leave, we're going to close this in 5 minutes. I'm going to pass a question to each and every one of you here, especially the students. And I will start with Aria. Aria, Aria, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
How do you train a machine learning agent or module or chatbot? That's an AI question. In AI question is, how do you train a machine learning module, a chatbot, or agent? And why do you train the AI agent or machine or module or chatbot? It's because you want that chatbot to be able to answer the questions for specific field. So how do you train that?
We use the text and code to. Yeah.
Yes. I want it clear. Could you make Shan? How do you do that? Could you make it more clear? How do you train your AI machine learning module or agent or chatbot to respond to specific questions of your organization or of your clients?
Okay, so there's something called specialized language multimodal. So that means that the model you would be creating, it will be specialized in a specific domain for your company. So that might be in finance, that might be in engineering, that might be in IT in different spaces. And then you train it with so training, if you wanted to train it to the best quality level, you would have to acquire GPUs, which are graphic process units. And then when you have those GPUs,
Shan, you are taking Aria too far. You're gonna
okay,
get
let me
her.
try to explain it easily.
You're gonna make an accident. It's too far. Just
Actually, all of us
I'm
speak
lost.
English.
I'm lost.
Okay. So specialized language multimodal is a model for your specific domain you want. And like a domain, I mean, like if your company's in finance, then it will answer questions based off finance. If it's in marketing, it will answer questions based off marketing. And then, so to train it to be the best level, you have to acquire compute. What I mean by that is you have to go and buy graphic process units. What are graphic process units? They could be hardware or even software. So in a software sense, which is more affordable, you can buy like 2 GPUs, GPUs are like these machines that train a model like fast. And like an example, when you ask ChatGPT a question, right? It doesn't just have it in its mind. ChatGPT is just the interface. It's just how it is. But the answer comes from it sending a message to a GPU, solving problem quickly, and sending it back to the chatbot. So it's like even that's how it works pretty much. So the GPU is very important to answer questions, solve problems, and know how to even interact because it trains your model.
So I was asking her that question as a beginner. So as a beginner, you just make sure you bring the information you want the chatbot to respond to and dump it there. Is this not what you did, Asaf? Did you guys work on that one?
Yeah, I wanted to for me, I wanted to answer it exactly the way we learned it from Saftek. So we were training our AI agent through giving it the contents where it has to feed to fetch the answers. For example, we are just linking it to the websites, and as well adding some documents that are relevant to that institution or that company that contains all information that the clients are going to ask. Then through asking the agent, and you see the way it is answering by referring to the documents and the contents we gave it. That's how we learned it.
And so that can help you guys on this. How do you deploy and integrate the machine learning module or agent into our website? Is that still there? It's gone.
Yeah, he's gone, but well, I think we saw that also. Only that maybe okay, we can try, but I still remember some steps. Yeah, we deployed a small AI agent that we designed it into our Saftek website. So we integrated it in a HTML language that was already there. Then somewhere near the bottom, we copied the link of our AI agent, which was web or something. Then we took it there, we copied it there. Then again, we played with ChatGPT to give us other few HTML codes that can align it in exactly the way we want. For example, the size, the way it pops, and it goes and comes, like that. So so that showed us that, and maybe with practice we can do the same.
And that's all you need to talk about in an interview. If they ask you about the AI, so far, don't even talk more than that. If you talk like Sean, they're gonna fire you because he's overqualified. He knows too much.
So Sean is going to make other people being fired.
Yeah, he will make people feel like, what's going on here? But as you answered that, that's how on an entry level of AI, that's how you do it. Then you start talking about AGPs and stuff like that. As you get advanced, and if you want to be a part of an advanced class, you can join Shani's class where they're designing the clustered AI machine learning modules with APIs. So Aria, could you tell us what you've done with AI in your previous job? And Asaf, you're gonna be next talking about the same thing, and we close maybe who else is there? I'm not seeing the names. Everybody's gonna answer that question because it's always gonna come in your interview. Tell us what you've done with the AI in your previous job, or tell us what you've done with the AI. So Aria, could you tell us what you've done with the AI? And if it's not clear, please go to Asaf. Asaf will take a few minutes with you. I need you to master this because this is your winning power in an interview, because you're gonna be talking about things other IT support don't know. And this is your advantage, because they'll be like, let's hire this person because she has something new she's bringing on board.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was going to say about the way you end up now asking them, trying to show them that although they didn't ask you about something, but you still have some knowledge you can bring in that can add value to their company that they already didn't request.
Did you hear how I did the marketing for myself about the AI?
Yeah.
They didn't ask me about it. I said it. Why? Because I wanted to stay in their head so he can go and talk to the big bosses and say, this guy knows also about the AI.
Yeah, your conclusion can itself hire you.
So Aria, answer the question, please.
For this, I can say that at Saftek, I created an AI that could answer some questions about our company, and this helped us to reduce the cost of the company.
So I want you guys, all of you, to take this information. When they ask you about the AI,
Mm.
when they ask you about this, always say a couple of things. I have created, deployed,
Mhm.
trained, and integrated AI agent into public and private websites for our personal, our personnel, our management team to be able to. So when you're saying something, make sure the company will see how they're gonna use it. How is it important to them? If you
Sorry,
just
repeat
talk about
those
it,
forwards. Sorry, repeat those forwards.
so I want you to repeat to remember these
You,
words, and this
you
is what
designed, you deployed.
I have designed,
Mhm,
deployed,
mhm,
trained,
mhm.
integrated
Okay.
AI agent or modules for both our internal use and external clients. Could you repeat that statement for me, please? That's all you're gonna say about the AI because that's what you are learning in. That's what you're learning in the class, and that's what you should know how to do, and that's how you should be able to present yourself in the market.
Yes, I can say I have designed, created, deployed, and trained and integrated AI agent for both internal and external use.
Perfect. And you can add some sugar coat on that. For the external use, this is our clients who could go on our website, they could be able to make orders, they could be able to press the complaint using the chatbot, chatting. And on chatbot, they could ask the question, when is my order coming? I could ask the question, how much is the price for this? This is the external users on your website. The internal users will be like, how do I set up a computer? They go in a chat GPT, which is the agent you've created for the company, and they say, how do I transfer? Okay, let's say you want to create a group of users in the company as an employee from the IT support. There's 10 people coming to start the job, and you need to create their account into domain Active Directory. In this case, you can go for the chat GPT or for the agent you've created or machine learning module, you can go there and say, give me the steps of how to create a bulk of users. And this chatbot, your chat GPT, will actually bring the information you loaded in. Remember, you trained your agent. Remember? The agent is not going to be able to know what you're asking about unless you trained it. Unless if you go external to high, big machine learning models like Shani was talking about. But in this case, if you are training the module for the employees to use it, which is internal, and for the clients outside to use it, that means you've trained two agents completely different. You understand? And why do you train it? Because you train it instead of the employees calling the help desk and say, oh, I forgot how to set up a Teams office. Boom, they type in how to set up a Teams meeting. I forgot how to record a Teams meeting. They call that. That's what they do. Help desk IT support. You're gonna be sitting there all the time, and people are gonna be like, "How do I have a meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. I'm having a hard time. I don't know what to do. How do I set it up?" In this case, if you created an agent or chatbot, you should go there and say, "How do I create a meeting?" Then your chatbot will go there and give you a list step by step. Open out or go to your computer, open Office 65, open Office 65, maybe Teams. On Teams, go in Calendar. On Calendar, right click on the date you want to book a meeting and put the details. How do you put those details, Asaf? How do you train the agent to do that?
Yeah, you keep asking the agent the questions, but again,
But how
remember we
does
have.
the agent know this is the documentation I should give to them about this question?
Yeah, remember when we are designing and creating that chat AI agent, we gave it all those contents, so, and yeah, and it can really reference to them to answer.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to. So now the AI agent, when you ask a question, it goes in a big archive and says, "Oh, he wants to know how to create a group of users." So they'll say, "Oh, this is a document because this document it says the name of the document say how to create the users in bulk." how to create how to create Active Directory users in a bulk. That's what what should say, and that should bring you the whole information that you're looking for. And now you can go next, because the documentation was created by you. And how did you create the documentation? You used general information like a chat GPT, or you created a document in a Word file, and you created this, you created a document in a Word file, and you copied all the information, put it in a PowerPoint, in a Power Presentation point, and that Power Presentation point, now they can go step by step. And if they can do that, then they don't have to call the help desk. They don't have to call customer service. And if they don't call the customer service and help desk, what happens? They save money. And that's what they want to hear. So anything you're talking about, it should be bringing more money to them, not taking money out of their companies. That's what they want to hear. So a question again to you, Aria, because this question is going to come to you, even if they don't ask you this question even if they don't ask you this question in an interview, tell them, if they say, do you remember when they say, do you have any question? This is my time to bring in my AI. And I said, they say, do you have other questions? Yes, I said, yeah, I've been working with AI a lot and it's been so helpful. I've designed, deployed, deployed and trained the AI agent on our local user data and external user data. And this has been so important because it saved the company a lot of money. And then you ask them, are you currently using AI in any of your services? And if they say no, it's going to hit in their head. They're going to say, oh, this guy is going to be more important than we thought. We thought we are hiring somebody for IT support, maybe systems engineer, but this guy is also coming on board as an AI engineer. So they are like, we are getting 3 guys in one person. We are looking like if they're hiring Aria, they're going to get somebody who knows AI. They're going to have somebody who knows the cloud computing. They're going to have somebody who can still answer the calls and respond to people's issues, which is customer service. But also, they're going to have somebody who can answer technical issues because she's the IT. Now they have 5 people in one person. Do you see how you market for yourself? How you give yourself a value? Remember, you know so many things, but if you don't tell somebody who buys that you have them, if you sell good chapati and you make them in the kitchen there and you never put them on the market, you don't tell anybody, are you gonna be able to sell those chapati? No. And if necessary, sometimes you need to take a piece of chapati and give it free. And that's what I did. I told them what I did so they can say, when they start talking, they want to be like, we need this guy because he can help us on AI. We need this guy, he knows cloud. We need this guy, is IT. He's a full package in one person. So which means they are getting more for the price.
So how could you show them that you know the cloud computing if they're asking you about the help desk?
That's exactly what's cloud computing. OneDrive. What's OneDrive?
Where we keep the documents.
And where are the documents? Do they stay in your computer? At home, where do they go? In the cloud. So the moment you're talking about Teams, you're talking about OneDrive, you're talking about Office 365 tools, you are already talking about the cloud computing. That's what the cloud computing is all about. Right now, me and you, I'm talking, right now, me and you guys, we are talking through the cloud because this is Teams we're using. Team is a part of the Office 365. Office 365 is a part of Microsoft, and Microsoft, which is Azure. The part of the Azure, and Azure is part of Microsoft. Any more questions? So the key word here, always make sure you sell yourself. If you don't sell yourself, it doesn't matter. If you know so many things and you don't sell them, they're useless. So
okay.
Assume we've just finished the meeting right now. And Alia, could you ask me, I'm going to ask you, do you have any question for us today?
Yes, I have one question that I would like to ask if you in your company you are using the AI, because in my previous job I was working with AI where I created the AI and it helped us in our company where the external used to ask some questions about our company, and it really helped us by reducing them. It helped us financially.
It's good. You're gonna get the words, don't worry. You see, you know what you want to say. But because you
Yes.
just got yourself there, you don't know the word to use. But that's important. You know, you're trying to tell them you've used it and it's been so helpful. It has saved the company you worked for a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of time because they were able to fix so many issues. I mean, and even including not hiring unnecessary agents.
Yeah.
Asaf, could you ask now we finish the meeting, could you ask the same question? And I want to see how you're asking the question. You could ask the question and just they say no and they end up there. But now you're trying to tell them, I have this package, I want to bring it on board. Guys, sorry, I'm focusing on Aria and Asaf because they have interviews coming in soon. So that's why, sorry. But if you want to say something as well, you can jump in. And this question goes to everybody. Now, the meeting have just ended. How do you have any question? Asaf, the question is for you.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I would say in my previous assignment, I worked on AI agent. I designed, deployed, and trained the AI agent that was used for both the internal use and external use.
Asaf, when you're talking, try to stop those B, make sure your brain is running so fast. See the picture, see the load. When you're talking, to stay on the load. How do you do that? Make sure you have the keywords on your list.
Okay.
So make sure you cheat. How do you cheat? You know the terminologies you're going to use. You're going to say create, deployed, trained, integrated AI agent to both our private and public use. And as a result of this, the company was able to save a lot of money on resources and time. So you can just frame it any way you want it. Okay, say it again.
Yeah, in my previous work, I designed, deployed, trained, and
integrated. First. Start with the question. Have you worked? Any question for you? It was very good to have a meeting with you. Any question for you?
Okay, so it's me asking them, okay?
Yeah. No, they're asking you to ask your question.
Yeah, my question is, do you really have AI agent in your environment? No, do you use AI agents in your environment? Because I have really worked on AI agents, deployed, trained, and integrated them, and they really helped in my previous company or institution. So, do you use one in your institution?
But you see, you said it. Did you say it so good? How do you guys think he saw the idea? Was it really good?
Yeah, it's good.
No, it's not good enough. It's lacking.
Something's missing.
No, some pieces are missing. So if they ask me, I say, oh, actually, there's this interesting question I wanted to ask. I don't know how you guys are actually transforming to AI. Have you worked with AI? And the reason why I jump in and start saying something, because they could say no and cut me off. But I'm taking this opportunity to sell myself. So because they could say, oh, sorry, we don't have the AI project, but they're coming soon. And if no more questions, that's it for now. Eric, do you have another question? Now you can't ask the question. It's too late. You can't talk about the AI. So if they say, ask me, now ask me.
Okay, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask, are you have you been working with AI? Because on my previous job at Softec, I did create, deploy, and train AI agents and also integrated them into our applications and services. Like meaning for the external services to help our clients in orders and processings, then our internal management, which is so helpful at the help desk. We ended up saving like 30% because most of our users, they got used to using the AI agent that I created, and this saved a lot of time and a lot of money for the company. Did you get my point?
Perfect.
Every time you're talking about something, these people, they just want to hear, how can they save? How can we make money? So if you are talking about how you can come on board and help them to save 30% on the help desk, because so many people were calling for different issues, but you managed to streamline all the issues and now they don't call anymore. So the help desk that had 20 people, now they have 5 people. How much money did they save? A lot of people, a lot of money. So guys, practice that question, make sure it sounds perfect so that you're gonna help me to interview them about that question. You need to know that question because that question, even when you've performed so bad, at least you're gonna leave something in their head. They're gonna be like, that guy did something and these things managed to save their company 30%. Maybe even though every time he's talking, he's like, oh, he doesn't speak so fluent enough, but he's very smart. I think we can use this guy. You see now you're putting them in a position to consider you. Any questions from anybody? Anything you want to plug? Guys, any question? Or we call it a day. I'm tired. I've been talking for hours. I'm celebrating.
For me, that's it for today. Thank you.
Okay, I got the message from the company. Let's see what they are saying. Yes or good. That's why I said, call me back, yes or good. What does that say? What does that mean?
Get the job.
Congratulations.
Oh, that's 70 hours an hour. I'm trying to tell you guys how much.
The email says what?
So this is from the agency, which means what happens after they have talked to you, they call the agency, the only person who's supposed to tell you they're giving you the job. But remember the agency, because they are so proud, they're going to make a lot of money, like 20. Remember, I'm going to be making $75 an hour, working 8 hours a day, working 40 hours a month. And this is going to be 1 year contract. So they are so happy. They're happy, and they don't want to give me the message on the email. What do they want? They want to make sure they call me and now.
Okay.
So they want to share the message in a good way because now if they didn't give me the job, these guys will never even call me. But if they give me the job, now I'm a bread and butter, which means now I'm a machine. I'm gonna be the machine, the money-making machine for them. So now they say, call me, I'm gonna call them. They say, could you come to our office? I'm sure I'm gonna go there. They're gonna show me how good they are. They're gonna take me for lunch. They're gonna appreciate me. Because why? It's not because they love me. It's because they know somebody says, yes, we can pay you for this guy.
What is the title again for the job?
So they need to do on-site migration to the cloud. So it's a senior infrastructure engineer, cloud. So they need somebody who comes from somebody who is on-prem, senior on-prem infrastructure engineer, and they're going to the cloud. So they need a cloud architect solution, like an architect who can design AWS, Azure, and stuff like that. And this is Adia, this is where you should be within 6 months from now. You should be training and preparing. This is where you should be, and at least be able to make maybe 15K every month on one contract. Remember, you can do more than one contract. How do you do more than one contract? I'm not going to sit down and do this contract. Maybe I'm going to give it to Asaf. Maybe I'm going to give it to Sadat. Maybe I'm going to give it to Chigali. I don't sit down and do it. I just pass it over to other people. And if I give it Sadat, even though I'm making 150,000 USD every month, if I give Sadat maybe $2,000, Sadat, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
That's 7 million. That's 7 million Uganda shillings, which even the director in MTN doesn't do. So I think it was, and then you're free to work. You have the internet. You can work from home. You can work from the call center, and this is so easy. I'm there. If you are lost, I'm there to help you. This is where this job comes in so good and so easy. So acquire the knowledge. Don't get tired. Acquire the knowledge. Once you have skills, trust me, you don't have to worry about the money. The money will come directly to your accounts without asking. Any more questions, guys?
I actually just calculated. I heard you were saying that.
Why are you calculating my money?
I'm just trying. I'm curious.
How much is it?
So you had said $70 per hour, right?
$75 per hour, working 40 hours a week
Yeah.
for
So
1 year.
it says like for 1 year it's around 160,000. No, 160 and $500,000. So it's it's a big amount.
That's not a bad money, all right? So if we've been trying to get 10 contracts. Right now, I'm sure we've got 7. This is the 7th. And even if we stop there, I think I can go back to Africa and just relax. And that's how
but
that's
it's
how you
hybrid.
work. Sorry, that's remote.
Hybrid.
So sometimes, sometimes it's important. That's why it's a big advantage for people who are in Canada and USA. Because sometimes you see, he asked me, they want me to go there. Do you know why they want me to go there? Because they know some people are working outside the country. So they want to make sure it's me. I'm in the
It's
country.
where? Is it in Canada or USA?
It's in Canada. I'm going to go to New Brunswick. I'm going to show up in the
Okay.
office for just 2 days and I'll come back. The reason
Okay.
why, because they want to make sure, the government wants to make sure Canadians are getting the jobs before other people, like Indians and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So they want to empower the Canadians and Americans the same way Rwanda and Uganda do. If you go in Rwanda and you want to be a teacher, they're going to ask you, we don't have teachers in Rwanda unless you're bringing something different. Any more questions or we call it a day? Nicole and Sadat, please, I'm going to send a little intro talking about this video, the intentions of this video, why we did it, so that you guys can put an intro, then we're going to be posting. Don't post it on our social media. I want to post it on Yago so we can get more people coming to join the class and we can help more people out there. Because some people, they are lost, but they can't even ask for the way. Have you seen people getting lost, yet they have GPS on their phones?
Yeah.
So on people in North America, in Canada, and USA, they're in factory, they're busy in factory, but they can't build themselves the skills that will set them free from the matrix. And it's so sad. So how do we help them? We put the video there, and some they can follow up and do. They don't need to call me. They can follow up and do it. If they succeed, fine. I know some people who got the job and they never even bothered to call and says thank you, Safari. But I'm not here for thank you. If you get it, that's my dream. That's what I want.